E eu quero perguntar para eles qual que é a vantagem do UI5 Tooling sobre o Fiori Tools. Next question about the UI5 Tooling. Here, people are used to use Visual Studio Code with Fiori Tools, or people use the Business Application Studio in BTP, but we also have the setup, the environment setup using UI5 Tooling with npm package and etc. And I would like to ask why use UI5 Tooling instead of Fiori Tools? What are the advantages of UI5 Tooling?
It's not about instead of. I mean, it's UI5 tooling is really like, you could say, like the base layer for lots of tools, and it's always a combination. And actually UI5 tooling, Fiori tooling is actually using UI5 tooling. So because like the UI5 tooling itself is rather like for setting up your project and also to build your project, and also the possibility that you can like have a preview of your application because it has a web server in it. So this is what the UI5 tooling brings. And this is also something what Fiori Tools needs. And they did not invent everything themselves, but they're using UI5 tooling to do those things. And but the general benefit of our UI5 toolings is that it is a command line interface tool. This means you do not need an additional software, but you only need like a command shell, and then you can work with it. You need to install Node.js, but that's all. But then you can use I don't know even if Eclipse works, but definitely Visual Studio Code, Sublime, business applications, all of this works more or less with you can use like to develop your UI5 application. But what is not part of UI5 tooling is any visual UI, like with the Fiori tools. No, with the Fiori tools, you have really graphic UI where you can do UI5 application development. They really help you with not with structuring, but with building your application. There you have like guided development where you can get like hints what's the next step, or you have the annotation or application modeler where you can like add additional views and things like this, or the templates where you can kickstart your application. This is what comes with the Fiori tools, and it really helps you like to be fast with your actual development of the UI5 application. But it also restricts you to a specific development environment. No, I mean the Fiori tools, they are Visual Studio Code extensions. So you need Visual Studio Code or you need Business Application Studio. In both areas, you can use them. But if you are used to any other kind of tools, you cannot do it. And I think the other good thing with the UI5 tooling is, as it is the command line, it's also very, and also because we thought of this in the architecture, it is quite easy to extend. So everything what we cannot, or for everything where we do not have a use case for, or we cannot provide, the community can provide additional tasks that can help with any setups and so on. And there are already quite a lot of, I think, 20 or 30 projects like related to the UI5 tooling that you can use to extend like the features of the UI5 tooling and so on. And there, for example, there are also scaffolding tools that you can use then with the UI5 tooling to kickstart your application and things like that. But I believe Peter can explain it much better.
The scaffolding we keep separated because there is this easy UI5 generator on a low level, which we have also with the easy UI5 3.0 opened in a way that we can now develop together as a community templates for this generator.
But also they expect that you start with the UI5 tooling and then go with the easy UI5.
No, the ECU, no, that's not the case. So the easy UI5 generator is
I read in the setup that you first have to install the UI5 tooling. Then I'm wrong. I've thought really that is also kind of like
it needs to be. You are right. It needs to be globally installed. So or it's coming as a dependency from the project. That is also the case. But basically, the easy UI5 generator is the tool which is used for scaffolding. It can consume community templates. So this project templates are developed in a GitHub organization called UI5 community and consumed from the easy UI5 generator. This is how scaffolding works, and this is completely separated from the UI5 tooling. But because on the UI5 tooling side, we focused on two things: resolving dependencies. So this is how our libraries are being consumed from NPM packages, because this is a bit special. They are front-end packages and not typically back-end packages, and there needs to be some kind of negotiation about versioning. Otherwise, you run into trouble when there are heterogeneous versions inside. And on the other hand side, the UI5 tooling acts also as a kind of a platform to build and to run tasks and middlewares, depending on what kind of environment you are. So for an application project, you have this dev server, which has middlewares, and these middlewares can be extended with own middlewares. This means it's the web server, and you can plug in something like Live Reload. Or if you build a project, you can have custom tasks integrated, like a transpile task for year 6 to year 5 or stuff like that. And this was the intention of the UI5 tooling, to exactly be the best possible tool to build UI5 applications and library projects. And in future, it will also be something for web components and stuff like that. That's what we are working on, to make it one kind of ecosystem, one tooling as a foundation to provide an environment for UI5 development.
Okay. And one more question. So UI5 tooling is included in Fiori Tools, right?
They are using the UI5 tooling, yeah.
So everything I can do in UI5 tooling, I can do in Fiori Tools command line.
They are wrapping the UI5 tooling. So basically they have the build task, and this runs also the build task of the UI5 tooling plus additional tasks. They are using this task extensibility. And for the dev server, it's the same thing. They run the UI5 serve command, but they extend it with custom middlewares to have, let's say, the proxy for the ABAP system or whatever.
Okay.
This is not what we provide on an open source low level.
Ok. Ó, pessoal, vocês viram aí, né? Mais uma resposta bem comprida, né? Então, o UI5 Tooling, ele está na base do Fiori Tools, né? Então, essa questão do UI5 Tooling é para você ampliar suas possibilidades de desenvolvimento, né? Veja que nós estamos ainda engateando no desenvolvimento web, mas para quem já é mais avançado aí, está mais acostumado com o desenvolvimento web, com essas linhas de comando, com esses pacotes NPM. Então, algumas funcionalidades que o framework não vai ter, que o SAP não vai ter, você pode ampliar funcionalidades, ampliar as possibilidades que você tem quando você utiliza uma ferramenta como o UI5 Tooling. Então, mas como eles complementaram, o UI5 Tooling está na base, né? O Fiori Tools utiliza o UI5 Tooling. Bacana, né? Então a gente pode juntar aí as duas coisas.